Hello, TV family. Welcome back to Vero TV. My name is Veronica, and this is my husband.
Hi, I'm Ted.
Thank you so much for joining us each and every single week. We are so grateful to have you with us.
Well, today we wanted to talk about a certain celebrity, actually a number of celebrities. And the reason we're highlighting them is because celebrities kind of have this aura about them. You feel like they can never die. My wife and I love to watch older movies. And every once in a while we stop and we think to ourselves, here's Audrey Hepburn, and she just looks fabulous and youthful and just the quintessential movie star. But she's gone. And so we're focusing in today on the actor Chris Hemsworth. And we all know him having played the Norse warrior with the mighty hammer, Thor. We all know that. And just the role too. The role itself is like a demigod, right? A Greek god. So how can this guy ever run into some calamity or other? So recently the news came out that he had some blood work done and found out that he carried the gene both from his mother and from his father for Alzheimer's, the potential for Alzheimer's. And that puts him in a category of having an 8 to 10 times higher risk of actually having Alzheimer's at some point in his life. And it was interesting because the story was talking about how he was taking a step back from acting to kind of focus on his family, to sort of get a little bit more grounded in priorities and what was important in life. And when we saw that story again, it reminded us how each and every one of us should be focused on those things that are most important in life. It's easy, whether you're a movie star or not, to get lost and off track and focused on the non-essentials, chasing after things that don't matter, and neglecting the fact that we really are only here for a brief amount of time in the grand scheme of things.
Life is very short and you just never know what tomorrow holds. You know what I mean? This guy going about his day and didn't know that he had the potential, of actually getting Alzheimer's. And as you guys know what Alzheimer's is, he has the possibility pretty much of losing himself and losing who he is. You know what I mean? When you have Alzheimer's, you can't remember exactly who you are, your thoughts. You sometimes you can see your own children and you don't even recognize them. You know what I mean? So it's a brain disorder. So it's actually very sad that this young guy, this young artist as he is, can develop something like that. So you just never know what tomorrow holds. You know what I mean? And this goes to show that we always have to be prepared. In our Christian life, we need to be prepared. In whatever that we are doing, we need to be prepared that, one day we will not be here. And we are not saying that he's going to die tomorrow or who knows tomorrow. You know what I mean? We are each here about who knows what will happen to us tomorrow. Nobody knows. When you are living, you have to live as though, tomorrow is not there, because when you die, where will your soul go? Sometimes these topics can be so sensitive and we try to avoid talking about them. A lot of Christians avoid talking about things like that because they can be so deep and dark, and no one ever wants to think about, death, or no one ever wants to think about, darkness or that kind of stuff. But it is the reality of life, and these things will happen. You know what I mean? Think about the people that if you have never lost somebody, then it's understandable. But think about the people that that are no longer here today. What is the difference between them and us? There's no difference. So we want to do this to just tell you to just be prepared, because you just never know what tomorrow holds. You know what I mean? You can sleep and not wake up today. Where will your soul go? Live your life and prioritize what matters. Prioritize your family, prioritize your children, take care of them. Just be there, for family. Just be there for anyone that needs you. You know what I mean? Take care of yourself, especially. Take care of your mind, take care of your soul, and just don't go running around and not actually living. It's very important to be present and to not allow the worries of life to overconsume you, because it can happen where you are so consumed by the things of life and you forget to live. You know what I mean? Live the life that God has given you. Travel the world. Enjoy your family. You know what I mean? Live in the moment and just be happy and be joyful, but live right, because you just never know what tomorrow holds.
Yeah, well said. That actually is kind of how we want to focus on this topic, because we really do believe in the power of positivity. And life is a gift. And there's so much potential to be mined out of each and every one of us. And sadly, a lot of us end up squandering our lives by making the wrong choices and living the wrong way. So that's the point, is not to dwell on this idea that we're all going to die and let's get depressed. It isn't about that at all. We can't escape that reality. So this is just a reminder. Chris Hemsworth is in the company of a lot of other actors who have come into situations where they just never thought, I'm sure, because they're like us, you know, my wife was saying, we always think we're the exception. It can always happen to somebody else, but we need to be sober and recognize that every one of us is so fragile. There are other actors, Patrick Swayze, who ended up having pancreatic cancer. And that story really hit me because, again, he's a movie star. You just see them on the big screen and you just think, these people are never going to die. They're just so powerful in their roles and everything. And then all of a sudden, the thing about pancreatic cancer is that it's just a very painful way to go. And it just takes everything from you. I mean, it withers you to the point where you're barely even recognizable. And he was a fairly young guy. I think he was in his 50s. Talk about being humbled. Talk about being reminded that we really are just here for a moment. Christopher Reeves, who was Superman, and he fell off of a horse and he was quadriplegic for years and years and years and years and years. There was another famous person that you had mentioned today when we were...
So Celine Dion. Celine Dion just announced that she has stiff person syndrome. And I think that what happens is that when you have a stiff person syndrome, you get muscle spasm. If you guys have not heard of the story, go on her Instagram page. She shared about her situation. I love Celine Dion. You know, I bought her albums when I was young. My dad gifted me her albums. And so to see such a person, an icon, someone I looked up to, you know, all of a sudden she can no longer perform. She canceled all her tours for 2023. She's not going to be performing for a while because she needs to take care of herself. She needs to recover. You know what I mean? Life is so precious and you just never know what will happen tomorrow. So take care of yourself. Like it's just really sad when we think about all these things. You know, I'm thinking about Celine Dion, all healthy and all perfect, and all of a sudden this happens, and now, you know, her voice, her beautiful voice, she can no longer use her voice. You know what I mean? And hence, you know, when you have an opportunity to do something, don't wait until tomorrow. If you have an opportunity to be great today. If you have an opportunity to be kind to somebody, be kind today. Don't say, okay, I'll do it tomorrow, because you just never know what tomorrow holds. You know what I mean? God is in control of our entire lives. And if you know that tomorrow something like this will happen or something like that will happen, you will live your life a certain way. So live well, you know, seek God. Let your heart be after the things of God. Be loving, be forgiving. Don't say if someone has done something to you, don't say I'm going to wait until tomorrow to forgive them. I can never forgive the person. You know what I mean? Who are we not to forgive? Who are we not to let go? Live your life as though Jesus Christ is going to come back the next minute. If Jesus were to come back the next minute, how will you present yourself to him?
And we would remind you that Colossians 3:2 admonishes us to set our minds on the things that are above, not on the things that are on the earth. So we like to stay fairly practical on this channel because we recognize that while the greater reality is the spiritual reality, the fact that we are spirit, there's more to this three-dimensional world that we exist in, yet we are in this world. So we want to acknowledge that there are things to do here. There are dreams to chase here. There are aspirations to grab hold of and just go for it here and now. And we're called to do these things. But at the same time, we want to align ourselves with the reality that we are to set our sights on the things that are above, so that when we go for something in this world, when we put our all into something, it isn't just all vanity at the end of the day. We want to encourage you to have that lens. When you're thinking about your career, when you're thinking about making just good choices, good decisions, who to marry, and how to treat people, and on it goes, rather than getting lost in the world's value system.
Let your heart always be ready for him. When I say him, I'm talking about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. No matter what you are doing in the world, in the work field, anything that you are doing, let your heart be centered on God.
And then one other thing about God that's very comforting is this idea that he's actually for our greater good.
Yes.
We get this impression sometimes when we read the Bible that he's just out to punish, and so we kind of want to hide from him or avoid him because it just seems like, you know, it's all negative. But really, the reality is the reason that he says what he says is because he wants us to have a joyful life. He wants to increase our joy. He wants to enhance our experience to the fullest. So you don't want to live with regret. And I know we all have regrets. We've done things, I've done things that sometimes I lay in bed at night thinking about. My mind turns over and over again on certain things that I did, or certain things that I said, or how I treated somebody, or a missed opportunity. And I have regrets. And you don't want that at the end of your life. You certainly don't want that at the end of your life. So we want to encourage you for your greater joy, so that not only will you be blessed throughout this life, living according to God's standards and the way that He would have us to live in the right perspective, but at the end of your life, you're not standing there feeling like, wow, I really dropped the ball. I messed up my entire life.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for joining us here on Vero TV. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, and share our videos with your family and friends. We hope this video was encouraging. If it was encouraging, leave a Bible verse down here, your favorite verse for someone. Perhaps yours will also encourage somebody. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day, everyone.